My character is Sam Willow, and he is a farmer/store owner. It was passed down to him after his father died. My character is really scared of his father, even though he is dead. That fear really influences the decision Sam makes, and when the stock market crashes, he goes to extreme measures to keep his business alive. I chose this character and storyline because I felt like I could create something that could actually have happened, and I could really touch how bad the Great Depression was. I chose each prompt based on what happened at the end of the story and didn't try to make the whole entry about the prompt, more of how the end result was. Challenges for me were honestly matching up prompts with the storyline, but I was able to find good ones to match with the story I wanted to create. I sometimes struggled with coming up with ideas, but I was able to sit down and create ideas that were creative. To really capture my whole story, I'll be reading my 8th journal. July 12, 1934. I'm motivated when I have a plan, and when that plan is set into motion, there's no stopping me. I had a plan to save the farm and the store, and this Great Depression can go to hell. In order to save the farm and the store, I had to make some sacrifices. I had to kill. I knew who my first victim was going to be, the old man from the bar, in which I had learned his name was Garrett. I waited outside of the bar waiting for Garrett to come out. When he did, he spotted me and smiled. "Back for more beer, are you?" he said, laughing. I looked down and said, "Sadly, no. I came to kill you for the greater good." And I pulled out my butcher knife. My heart was pounding and my ears got really hot. I held the knife in my hand, trembling. I had to do this. I had to do it for my father, my wife, and my children. I ran at Garrett, who tried to run but tripped and fell. He looked up from the ground and held his hands up. "You don't have to do this. I'm sure we can work something out," he said. I smiled sadly. "This is the only way. I'm doing this to survive." And then I slit his throat. As I watched him choke on his own blood, he sputtered out the words, "You will learn life should be about more than just surviving." I grabbed his lifeless body and dragged him out and put him into the back of my trunk. I drove home and then took his body and went into the back of the meat store and pulled his body onto the chopping table. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. This was just another animal. I lifted up my butcher knife and said out loud, "This is just another animal." And I swung it down, chopping off his thigh. I continued this action till Garrett was no longer Garrett. It was only bits and pieces of him. I wrapped the packages up in meat packaging and labeled them meat. The next morning, I put out a sign that said, "Meat for sale, 50% off." I knew people would definitely buy from me then, as I watched people come into the store and take all the pieces of Garrett. I couldn't help but smile and think about the money and how my family and the store would be saved. I was already thinking about who I would target next.